Man, I'm a finna hit hella clubs this weekend. I ain't no females was this gullible. Hey guys, it's Bunny. You have no idea how stupid some people are, especially when it comes to money. And we are gonna look at that today. Some people just don't know basic math. Honestly, I wish this was not my return video because I haven't posted in 6 months, but you know, sometimes life is just that way. I'm a little disappointed in myself, but here we go. Found out my coworker has his own business and makes about $27,000 a day. He's only at the job because of the benefits. He's 24. All right, let's digest that for a moment. $27,000 a day, that is going to be, let's say you work around 200 days a year, that's going to be $5 million. If you work more than that, it's going to be closer to 10 million. So right off the bat, unless this guy is the CEO of some Fortune 500 company, it's probably not worth to stay at the job because of the benefits. But this person seems to think so. And let's look at some of the responses because that's where this gets a little more interesting. So I'm muting this. The responses tell me more than y'all realize. For the skeptics, think outside the traditional income box. Oh my God. So whenever you say words like traditional income box, you know you are trying to sound much smarter than you actually are. This is what we call unconscious incompetence. This is like the worst level of competence. And if we take a look here, we could see that the 4 stages of competence are unconscious incompetence, which pretty much means you don't know that you suck at something. Conscious incompetence, that is when you know you suck at something. And conscious competence, you kind of know what's going on and you know you are good at what you are doing. And then the highest level of competence is unconscious competence, which means you just do everything correctly without even trying. So this person right here, whenever you are trying to use words like thinking outside the traditional income box, they probably fall into one of the worst categories. So for those of you aspiring to do the same or better, keep striving. I'm rooting for you. All right. And then go outside, get some sun. It's good for you. Let's just think about how stupid this person is for a second. This person really believes someone making 27 grand a day is going to be working a 40-hour-a-week day job. That's not paying him probably $5 million a year. So of course, whenever you're making a claim like this, you probably have to back it up. From what I'm getting so far, someone asked, what is the business? And they answered an extremely niche event service, but he would like to remain anonymous. All right, respect for that. You don't want any more competitors, but when you are this vague, it leaves things more up to question. And this dude asked, is he an escort? And maybe that is what the case is. There's a little more debate when someone asks, there's a difference between making 27,000 a day and doing 27 a day in sales, and words are important. So if we look at this, it's service-based and his overhead and supplies are covered. Understanding that there are various business models is just as important. Again, this person, Angelia, is speaking words as if she is such a proficient businesswoman, when she's not the one making 27 grand a day. So we finally reached some sense in the comments once we go to this guy. Meh, seems sus. If I was netting 27K a day, I'd be focused on increasing my net and my efficiency so I could afford benefits. I definitely would not be stuck behind a desk for 8 hours. Makes no sense. I completely agree with this guy. So as someone who has quit the 40-hour work week grind or whatever you want to call it, it's cringe. But yes, I'm losing out on benefits. My company didn't even require me to pay anything for full covered health insurance. In fact, they paid me to do it because they funded my HSA, which is a health savings account. So literally, I gave that up. I gave up the 401k. I gave up all that other nonsense that you get from being employed. And if you do have a side business, like what the person in the post is claiming, you are going to be able to afford the 10 to 15 grand a year that it costs for private health insurance in this country. And if you are making 27 grand a day, you probably would be working on your business in 40 hours and make much more than 15 grand in a year, just by increasing, again, like this guy says, his net income and his efficiency so he could afford benefits. But let's look at some of the replies because this guy is just making too much sense for the people on Twitter. This is a person who posted the post initially. He could afford them. He just found a way so that he did not have to pay for them himself. Also, not stuck behind the desk. Other people's decisions don't have to fit into your life or understanding. All right, so he could afford them. He just found a way that he didn't have to pay for them himself. This is like saying instead of taking a train that takes 15 minutes to get to, you're instead going to walk an hour to get to that destination because you didn't have to pay for it yourself. It just doesn't make any sense, especially if you are, again, running a side hustle. What I will agree with Angelia, who is like, Jesus Christ, one of the stupidest people I've ever seen, is other people's decisions don't have to fit into your life or understanding. That is completely true. We are in a free country. Do whatever the hell you want. But I'm pretty sure that her intention of saying the sentence is that she and her coworker have too high of an IQ for everyone else to understand, which just simply isn't true. So looking at the rest of the comments, some people are either like on the side of the coworker being like, wow, people are jealous and such skeptics. And then there are the people who are saying like, his time is worth more than benefits if he's making $27K a day. So I know a lot of people make ridiculous posts to try to go viral. They purposely say things that are stupid in order to do that.
Or you think that going to school and becoming a doctor or a lawyer is smart. I can't help you. Your brain is too small.
But when we look at this person's profile, like there's nothing too out of the ordinary. It's only like 1,500 followers. It's clearly not some news reporter or something like that. It's a person who just went to college and is just doing some things, maybe a little cringe, but who really knows? So I don't think it's someone who's just trying to ride like the viral hype train by trying to just make a post that would trigger people or evoke emotions in certain Twitter participants. But let's look at a couple of other comments. People against this in the comments, but when I worked at UPS, plenty people did this and had their own businesses. They would have a whole family that needs coverage. Why wouldn't they do this? Well, simply put, if you are really good at something that's making a lot of money per year, 27 grand per day, turns out you probably wouldn't work a job that pays out 27 grand a year instead. That's literally like 200 working days or 250 working days more efficient just to work on your private business. So were those coworkers making 27 grand a day with their business? Why would that matter what they were making? Well, gee, if you... Dude, I swear to God, if people would greatly benefit from taking like first grade math, it's something that isn't really taught in the public school system in America, apparently, because clearly it failed. Like, how many likes did this thing get? 115,000 people on Twitter, at least. So reading more into this, like, YTF would I pay out of pocket? That's why he making 27K a day and y'all ain't, because you don't think. Well, I'm pretty sure this person is not even close to making 27 grand a day, let alone anything near that, because again, I don't think they are the ones thinking. They're looking at someone and they're like, wow, this person's doing amazing. And they have no idea like what goes into that amount of money. And clearly working a whole work week every single week for the whole year is not worth $15,000 in benefits. So again, a reasonable person who got 0 hearts, by the way, said to save time. Why work part-time to get benefits when you can already afford? Shouldn't that effort go into the business? And then what's there not to follow? If he cared about the time, he could just quit, obviously. Rich people are rich for a reason. It ain't gotta make sense to you. Like, I don't even think this person, Jasmine Ray, it even makes sense to her. She's just pretending it does. So, oh my God, I cannot believe people are just this dumb with money. It's literally just basic math. And there were other comments in here saying that he's just doing it for fun, for like a social life or something like that. And I get it. Sometimes people get bored, but clearly the original poster did not mention that at all. And one of my favorite responses to this was, so he makes almost $1 million a month, $10 million per year, and he would rather work an additional job purely for benefits instead of simply paying $500 a month for PPO health insurance. And then someone dares to have the gall to say, have you experienced the US healthcare system? It'll eat up all that. So I'm not sure if you guys know how insurance works, especially private insurance. Is private insurance very expensive? Because $500 a month, that's like $6,000 a year. And that's like one of the bare bones plans. But if you get one of the 10 grand or 15 grand plans per year, you are going to have pretty good coverage. And guess what? Even if the healthcare system is so stupid in America or like so expensive in your point of view, if you have insurance, it covers a lot of that. So it's like if you have a $500,000 surgery, your insurance plan is going to cover it. So this argument just has no basis in this context, which again, like people just don't use their brains or actually know anything about the healthcare system. They just say like, oh, healthcare bad and leave it at that. And granted, like, we're not here to debate the merits of the US healthcare system, right? Obviously, there are much deeper issues at play there, and that's just completely irrelevant to how silly this argument is. So someone responded to that. Facts, I know a lady who has her own business and work at the hospital for the benefits alone because she had a better benefits with the hospital. Okay, I got like an aneurysm just reading that because when she had cancer, the benefits paid her. Well, again, if you have private insurance, like the private insurance is going to cover it as well, as long as you don't get a completely garbage plan, which if you're making 27 grand a day, you can afford one of the more premium plans, such as like a platinum plan or whatever the hell they call them. Not to mention, even if you were running a side business and you did not get a private health insurance plan, you could still pay for the cancer treatment, even if it costs $1 million, because if you're making $5 million to $10 million a year, that's literally just like less than 20% of your income, which is completely ridiculous. That's how much money $10 million a year is. You could literally afford cancer treatments for yourself every single year, and it wouldn't even hurt your bank or your lifestyle, apart from having cancer, which would honestly suck. But that is besides the point. So here someone said, finally, like, I know rich kids that have a job to make friends, so I believe her because people with money be wildin'. They think and act very differently from broke MFs like myself. That is true. Rich people do think very differently from people who are broke. And I do know people who do work jobs because they're bored because they don't have any direction in their life. And completely understandable. I agree with the Duchess of Hastings. But again, the original poster never mentioned this at all. So looking at a couple more replies, this tweet is a little misleading. He makes $27,000 a day. Now, is this pure profit or is it just revenue and his expenses are $25,000 a day? $2,000 a day profit is still not bad, but I think giving a bit more information may help the haters. So $2,000 a day is better than not bad. It is the equivalent to around like $500K a year, which I would say is pretty good, at least according to me. And scrolling down at some of the replies here. So looking at the ones that, like, first, this guy just says irrelevant. Well, no, it's pretty relevant how much you're making if you're doing a cost-benefit analysis. But this big brain person here says, giving more info would only confuse the 9-to-5 mind even more. I pray that the minds of the people can expand past their own circumstances. I do agree with that. The poor always scream scam when someone makes money. There's more than meets the eye. Well, that is true that a lot of people do scream scam whenever someone makes a lot of money, but there are also a lot of poor people who fall for scams because they think someone made a lot of money. And that is just one of the tragedies of like this country. You know, there are a lot of scams going on. There are a lot of like get rich quick schemes, MLMs, all that type of good stuff or bad stuff in this case. And it is pretty distressing to know that it is so rampant in this country. But I do agree with this guy here calling it misleading. This dude's name, for the record, is CryptoTrav125. Because a lot of people, especially like I remember watching a video from Andre Jick bragging about how he made like so much money on dividends in 1 month, but it just so happened to be the month that all the companies paid their dividends. So in reality, he just exaggerated how much he made from it by like a crap ton, which is very misleading. And I think that is like not a cool thing to do. But he was just doing that to generate like excitement and trying to get like a lot of attention to make his YouTube video go viral. So I can't quite blame him for that, even though he was misleading as hell in that video. So the last thread we are going to go over, it's like, yeah, this doesn't add up. Not only is this person not making that, but they aren't smart enough to come up with a believable story. Nobody savvy enough to make that type of money is going to waste 8 hours a day for the benefits. So this is completely true. I knew one person at my job who was in an MLM scheme, but it's so easy to spot like a pyramid scheme or like a multi-level marketing scheme once you recognize them. But for some reason, some people, they just have no like alarm in their brain that like lets them know about it. It's really silly because it's hard to tell someone who doesn't know what they are. But to someone who already knows, like, it's so clear whenever something is just out of the ordinary. Also, like, I don't know if you guys notice, but it seems that a lot of the demographics of the people who are defending this choice versus the people who are against it, it's kind of like guy versus girl. I don't know if you guys notice that. A lot of the guys are a lot more skeptical, and a lot of the women are like defending the decisions of the person making 27 grand a day working the day job as well. Don't really know what to make of that, but it is a pattern that I recognize, and pattern recognition is something that I am very good at. And oh my God, man, I'm finna hit hella clubs this weekend. I ain't no females was this gullible. I think I think this is a comment of the day. And I don't think anything else is going to top this. I don't know why this is so funny, but it's making me laugh a lot. But all in all, if you are actually making that much money, to whoever this is, congrats. Like, that is great for you. I do suggest quitting the day job because I've done that and it is honestly amazing. You don't have to do more work for it, but if you're making 27 grand a day, you literally spend half a day working, and that pays for your health insurance for the entire year. So you don't need to waste 40 hours a week, 2,000 hours a year doing that. And I just hope that everyone in this thread also realizes that, because some people don't know that 1 + 1 = 2, as it shows in this Twitter battle, or whatever you want to call it, this Twitter conversation. I don't know if people actually have conversations on Twitter. I kind of just like don't use it that much anymore, because no one changes anyone's mind on Twitter. You could pretty much quote me on that. If you do know someone who has changed their opinion on Twitter, do let me know in the comments. And again, this is all coming from a person who actually did quit his job. I did it like recently, and I did the analysis around it. I've talked to other people about it who are much smarter than me. And if you are making enough money from the side business or from like investments, technically I'm doing like both. I have both enough investments to live off of indefinitely, and I also have like a side YouTube business on my other channel. You don't really need to stay at your 9-to-5 job. So again, if you are in a magical situation where you're making 27 grand a day, just quit your job and find one more lead that gives you that much revenue or profit, and you are just going to be infinitely better off. But Jesus, just learn, like, the school system needs to teach not even basic economics. I've always been a proponent of saying like everyone needs to take Econ 101, but no, it's worse than what I thought. People need to take 3rd grade math again and learn what multiplication is and addition, because the school system has failed the 115,000 people that liked that comment. And it is just a little depressing to think that I live in a country where people are literally just that stupid. But because if you think about it, if you live in a democracy, those people, they have the same vote as me, which is completely crazy. And it's one of the downsides, I would say, of democracy. Even though like democracy as like a concept is very, very good, it is one of the downsides. I will say it's that like stupid people get like a pretty big say in like elections and stuff. And I guess that's why we've had so much crazy stuff happen in the past couple of years, because more people are being heard because of social media. But that is a discussion for a different day. I hope you guys like this. If you guys did, do hit the subscribe button below. I will have more informational and instructional videos in the future, but I do want to do some fun ones like this, because actually it wasn't even that fun. It was kind of depressing, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that. So do subscribe below if you want to see more, and hit the like if you enjoyed the video. Apart from that, I will see you all later.